We are live. Hey y'all, Peter Bros Golf Show, back at it again. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
I just want to come in with a quick editorial right off the top. So last week we were discussing NBA at the end of our show, and we were discussing the expansion teams. So at the time, I guess I didn't even know it had been confirmed that Seattle definitely was one, which we knew that one was definitely bandied about, but Las Vegas was
hmm
also confirmed as the other spot. So it was still fun to talk about the potentials. I did love your Mexico City pick
Thank you.
as an option, but I had even thought about Las Vegas right after, but confirmed it. So thanks for the commenter that came on and actually watched to the end to actually comment on that. So shout out to
Real
that
one.
human being for popping in and correcting us. So don't mind admitting fault. We're gonna have golf was golf this week. It wasn't crazy, not a lot of stories, but I do have some things that I want to discuss. We're gonna have a fun show here, so we'll discuss LPGA, PGA, DP World Tour, some stuff with the Kuchar boys, the losers. What else we got in the till?
Little
Media
live.
stuff, live stuff, media in general around
Yeah.
golf. So we got some good stuff coming on. So let's do it. Let's hit the PGA Tour real fast. Maverick McNeely getting his first pro victory in the RSM Classic. Not crazy bad weather, a little chilly. They had the long sleeves on this week. What'd you think about Mav McNeely getting his first win?
Glad it was him and not that other fella. Um, it just brought up a good point that we should rehash about the fields being limited and stuff going into 2026. So we have another 156 on some of these events and 144 and stuff like that, field size and stuff like that. But this brought up a good point, or this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, Rob. So if we want to limit field sizes and go down to 125 and stuff like that, then we have to. I mean, we need to revamp how we got these elite college guys in. If we're gonna have them, then we need to be sending them more to the Corn Ferry Tour to get their experience or something in pro golf, because
So you want to take away that kind of new entry point that they put in last year with the
yeah,
college
so
guys. Is
that
that what you're saying?
yeah, so correct, so that the already established guys can get in these field events and stuff like that as a as an exemption if they don't already have the qualifying for it. If they're tour status or whatever, if they're that 125 to 150, give one of those guys that alternate spot or whatnot. Shout out to Luke Clinton, definitely next up, but
Yeah.
it's just okay, you won. Now what? Are you going to Nick Dunlap it? Are you going to turn pro immediately after? Are you going to go back to Florida State, continue the season? Like, what's going to be your next move? You see it with Michael Torbjornsen. He's already turned pro. He's already in the mix. So Luke Clan is still holding an amateur status though. So
Yeah, but
not
you know
only
with
are you,
with with the whole amateurs being able to get paid for their time, I feel like he's not hurting, and this is not necessarily putting. It's not making his decision. Yeah, he would have won that place purse, whatnot, but with the UIL deals that are in place, I feel like college players are in a better spot than they ever have been to kind of continue to hold on to that amateur status while still collecting checks from sponsorships. What do you think about that aspect of it for him in particular?
yeah,
Because we've seen him play pretty well this year.
yeah, I mean that's fine for him, but that's taking money away from other guys that didn't finish second, that didn't finish third, and stuff like that. That's why that route needs to be the Corn Ferry Tour. They're still gonna make 100K a week. They're still gonna make 200K a month or whatever. They don't need that money. Those guys that are 30, 32, they need that money. They need that spot into that field and stuff like that. So yeah, he's still gonna get some field entries in and stuff like that. But that's if you want to limit field size, then somebody's got to get the boot and let it be these young guys. Get the older guys a chance to still make some money when they still have the physical ability to. So that's where I stand, and I hate sounding like a hater, but you
Well, I
know,
think I think we've seen two veterans, Kevin Kistner and Lucas Glover, speak up vocally about the limited field sizes and probably opportunities that they were able to take advantage of in their careers to extend them or get extra starts in preceding or following years that they
yeah,
may see getting cut out because that bottom 25 or not bottom 25 but whatever the math is on that 31 that's getting cut out, those are opportunities that we've probably seen some winners come out of it, some Monday qualifiers, guys that schools just barely got into the field but were able to make a week of it
yeah,
and extend their career or get some additional status. I'm pretty sure we saw Akshay Bhatia benefit from some of that early on in his career as well, and was able to make a name for himself. So I don't necessarily see the point of it. I haven't seen a really good justification from the PGA Tour on why we're doing this. I mean, I know we're doing it. I don't know why we're doing it.
yeah. And to Lucas Glover's point, who are the six players that we are appeasing so they don't leave? Again, you're gonna say we're gonna get to that as well in the
Yeah,
show, but name names. People are afraid to name names. Name names. If you really want to go out there and let your shit drop, go ahead, let it drop.
right. I mean,
Anyways,
yeah, yeah. We'll get into it. Um, so yeah, let's just go ahead and try. Also attached to Maverick McNeely, he put a new ball in play. I believe he had been playing the previous model of the 2024 Pro V Titleist Pro V1X. Switched to the 2025 model, which I'm sure is not yet available to the public, as retailers scramble to clear their shelves of last year's model or this current year's model. But he's got the updated version in the bag. We saw at the Zozo the man to not be named unless he wins used that ball. Had the early preview of it and was able to win there. Maverick McNeely playing this version as well was able to win. Said he wasn't going to play it until he secured his top 60 for the year. What do you think about this updated version of the Pro V1X and kind of just really, he said, held up very well in some windy conditions, a little bit cooler, but a very true flight and felt very comfortable with the ball. What do you think about these new iterations as we kind of hurtle towards ball rollbacks and the coming years, but we're still seeing advancements from Titleist?
yeah, I mean it's the 25th anniversary version of the golf ball. Uh, one of our lead pro, aka our co-owner, he got a prototype box in not too long ago, actually. So the protos are out and people are testing and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what's going on. I mean, it's a ball that I have in my bag if I don't have the Tour BXS in there. So shout out Bridgestone, shout out Titleist. Both those golf balls are very much predicated to what I like to do with the ball, as far as flight goes, as far as spin goes, as far as feel goes. So hopefully this new rendition stays around that same kind of compression, that same kind of firmness yet softness compared to the Pro V. It's going to be a firmer ball compared to the Pro V regardless, but
Right.
I think that this latest rendition, with it being a little bit more softer, a little bit easier contact off the face, I think that they're going headed the right way. And so hopefully this is what they're seeing. Michael Kim has a video out with Titleist, ball testing as well, ahead of his round. So he did the same thing, teed off, teed off with the ball. He plays a draw, so feeds right into what I'm doing as well. He said the wedge spin was about the same. He didn't lose any yardage, didn't go any crazy with the yardage. Said it was even more consistent than the 2024
Hmm.
version of the Pro V1X. So
Yeah.
hopefully the spin numbers are good, and I
I mean,
just
it
keep
can't
it
get
going.
worse. I
And
mean, Titleist
right,
never gets worse, right? And I think to
yeah,
me, for at least for me, I think we've seen Titleist push the ball technology forward, and everybody else has had to meet them where they are or
yeah,
fall way behind. And we've seen the improvements. We've talked about quality control improving on the TP5 and TP5X range. We've talked about the Callaway Chrome
Callaway,
softballs getting or Chrome Tour getting incredibly good and feeling better than ever. really a spinny ball from Callaway previously.
Yeah,
So, Bridgestone has kind of quietly crept under the radar. You've been playing them forever. Clearly, Tiger was playing them forever, and of course, the
yeah,
rumors that, or maybe not even rumors, but that Bridgestone was always pressing up some of those Nike balls for Tiger, even back when they were branded as Nike. So, I mean, I think the more Titleist does, um, the better. Because, like I said, it pushes everybody else forward. And I think even once we get to the ball rollback, yeah, it's going to be less dramatic than we think it will be. But I feel like Titleist will figure out a way to kind of still push the envelope and push the game forward. Because nobody wants to
yeah.
see the game get shorter.
I mean, I hope these tour execs are talking shit in the background, and hopefully we can just dismantle that. And
Yeah, we got
they,
4 years. It's 2030. 20, no, 6 years. Bugging.
so we'll see, man. It's
Yeah,
still a
no
terrible
doubt.
idea. There's still other things that can be done, but some of these people, when their mind is made up, they're gonna go with that regardless. So, like I said, hopefully somebody throws them some money or something like that, and we can go from there. But on to your next point, Roddy.
Yeah, I don't know if you got to see it because you were probably taking a nap, but I sent you a video from golf.com with, what's his name? Peter Costas talking to Gary McCord about the handicap system. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up on Instagram. About the handicap system and adjusting the handicaps for like distance. What do you think about this? Let me see if I can pull this bad boy up. I'm gonna present my screen. Hopefully it doesn't get too choppy. Let you react to it in real time. Is that sound? Nope.
Not hit the ball 200 yards. Dink, dink. If the hole is 401, they're not going to get there.
They're not going to get there.
Right? And so they're limited. They have to rely on a great short game, but they're never going to be able to get down to a lower handicap
Right, just from the length.
just from the length, right? Now you take a 12 handicap who hits at 300. Obviously that person, if they can hit at 300, they must have a shitty short game or can't putt or whatever. But on a given day, they're going to be able to chip and putt. They can find a chipping stroke, they can find a putting stroke, and with their 300-yard distance, they can play to a 4 handicap or whatever, right? And I can't believe I'm saying this. There's got to be a way of constructing a new handicap system that takes into consideration how far you can hit the ball,
It should be swing speed for the handicap.
whatever.
Yeah, if you're 120,
But there's got to be
You're not a
something.
20
There's
handicap.
got to be something that for the tour players that we play with that whisper, it doesn't go low enough for them.
no. Rom there is a plus 7.6, I think.
So that's garbage.
Yeah, so he gives me 8, and then literally I have no chance.
No.
Because I got to shoot even par.
So there's got to be a way
100.
of using today's statistical approach to everything to organize a handicap system that is fairer for everybody concerned. Not all 12 handicappers are the same.
Right.
What do you think about that? Just right
I
off the
get
bat,
what
what do you think?
I mean. I get what they're saying, but yes and no. I mean, I feel like that's just some big brain shit to just say, "Hey, why don't you just play up the tee box?" You don't know. Again, just because you're more skilled doesn't mean that you have to play up on tee boxes or play back on tee boxes. You play the yardage that you're comfortable playing, and then you determine that. That's what the course ratings are for. That's what the slope ratings are for. It tells you what it is from every tee box. So there's no need for them to readjust an already convoluted and super confusing handicap system that already
Right.
has breakdowns between regular handicap, your playing handicap, a tour handicap, what you play, what you shot this month compared to what you shot last year. Uh, there's already too many numbers, too many variables that are already calculated into this. We don't need to add swing speed or the yardage that you cover. We don't need to
Right.
add that into the equation.
Who's gonna regulate either one of those, right? So my swing speed when I start the season typically tends to be higher at the ends of either side of the season, right? So like right now, I feel like I'm in a really good swing, in a good groove with my driver, and it's a really actually pretty easy looking swing. But I would
Mhm.
guarantee that my club head speed is higher than it was middle of the summer when I'm playing quite a bit. It may be more fatigued, where I'm getting more rounds in during the week.
Yeah,
Body starts to break down a little bit versus also fresh in the off season, where I typically have the last couple of seasons been doing some speed training in the off season, come out, playing better, because that was one of the things is playing sucky at the beginning of the season was starting to really aggravate me. So working on speed and
yeah,
technique in the off season, feeling like I have really good speed at the beginning of the season, and again, kind of a little dumbbell where bell curves up and down. So, I don't know. I hate that measurement, and also like you said, we could better adjust it with the tee boxes, and yeah, I think that's the ultimate kind of fairness. And even in our little group, we have a skins game that we occasionally play, and there's an older gentleman that plays with us. Everybody else has to play from what essentially are the equivalent of the blue tees or the first one back from the end. He gets to play with the equivalent of the whites, right? So depending on where you're at, that could change.
yeah,
But kind of middle or front half of the tee box, just because he's older, doesn't have the same length. So we adjust for that, and I don't feel like it gives him anything. Hell, I don't. It isn't always a guarantee for me that if I play up a tee box that I'm going to score better. And I know the
right.
logical sense to that. But if it's a course that I've played before and the tee boxes are up, I'm getting different landing spots. I'm having to play different clubs. Maybe having to hit something lower
Yeah,
that I don't want to hit when I want to pull a driver or something like that. So, yeah, while I get the theory and that it can feel unfair if everybody's playing from the same tee boxes, again, the example that they use is a 200-yard driver or somebody that can't hit 200 with the drive, or somebody that hits it close to 300. There's a huge advantage there. I get that, but that's also where you have to tighten up other areas of your game. So I wasn't a huge fan of it. I did find it though an interesting conversation just because it
yeah.
popped up on my feed.
Me
So
also, ball
go
striking is
ahead.
involved in that too. I mean,
Oh
nobody's
yeah,
gonna if you're not an experienced pro or somebody that's its day job, your ball striking from round to round is gonna be up and down and all around. So again, there is just way too many variables in there for me to be trying to inject swing speed and cover distance into that.
right, right. Way too much. And like I said, who's gonna go get fit? And we know golfers have a real ego about their driving distances. So are we gonna
Yeah,
rely on the players? If we did that, there's no way that the actual handicaps are gonna change because people are gonna fudge their numbers. So I think
exactly.
that's flawed. Let's slide on over to the other side of the pond over in Australia, the DP World Tour. Their two event swing in Australia started this past weekend. They are going to be returning there again this week, which is cool because that means we get some early in the evening golf, which I always love. Same thing when they play it over in Asia. And then
Hmm.
they'll swing over to the South African side of their swing. So last week on the DP World Tour, my guy Elvis Smiley, a little lanky guy, lefty, protege of Cam Smith, defeats Cam Smith by 2 strokes to take their PGA Championship for Australia. So it looks like he had pretty good crowds out there. I always love, Australians love them some golf. They will come out no matter what the league is and support Australian golf. So he had a really good turnout, wins his first victory on the DP World Tour. Any thoughts there? I mean, I don't really know much of the guy. Again, we don't get to see him very much, other than, I mean, Cam Smith got to get on TV.
Yeah, the couple of snippets I heard about Elvis, that he was another one of those prodigious youngsters, had a lot of promise going early, switched to the pro style game probably right after the pandemic, 2021, beginning of 2021, and it just never really quite caught on, and so now finally he's finding his stride and what he needs to be doing. So I guess he put two and two together finally to get that win. But yeah, I mean, Jason Day
Yeah.
was out there. Mark Leishman was in the final group. Yeah, they had all the Aussies out there. Lucas Herbert was out there too.
Did Adam Scott get some run? I don't know if I saw his name at any point.
I don't even know if he wanted to play with them. He kind of
But you know, he
well,
turns up for for Australian golf. Maybe next week. Maybe this week
I
we'll
think
see.
he'll probably be in one or the other. Let's see. PGA, DP World Tour. Let's see. Minwoo Lee was out there. Can't forget him.
Yep, Rob.
Cam
Yep,
Davis was
Rob.
out there.
Oh yeah, Cam Davis is always there. Rob, we're gonna get to Miss Gino here in just a bit. Thanks
Greg
for the comment.
Ogilvy.
Greg Ogilvy is gonna play golf until he drops dead. Homeboy's
And he
gonna play
still
forever.
has this one of the smoothest swings in the world.
Smooth as butter. Only other little note just about Elvis is his mom. I think sports star gets thrown around too often. So in the article that I read, his mom was a professional tennis player. To a certain degree, I feel like there is a definite advantage to guys and gals whose parents have been involved in sport kind of having a leg up in it. And it's not just from a financial standpoint. I think also the mentality of playing
Right.
professional sports gives them the advantage of how to mentally approach preparation, and you know, getting better at your particular craft. So very interesting note there. I think we see that quite a bit. You know, especially the guys who start out young with a lot of promise, guys and gals with a lot of promise, and they're able to kind of translate. And I think there's also a correlation for, you know, we see that with the Corda sisters, you know, dad being a tennis player.
Yeah, pro
I
tennis
think there's
player.
similar skill sets there. A lot of hand-eye coordination, and you know, I think it's just a lot of parallels. But I think the I guess mentality to me seems to be the biggest advantage as well.
Yeah.
Anything
Uh,
else on that before we hop up?
no, no Adam Scott. Um, but Nicholas Kosarts and Sergio Garcia somehow made the field. Somehow.
Yep. I think also when you mentioned, okay, say those two names again. Cosarts and who?
Nicholas Kosarts and Sergio Garcia.
Yeah. Okay. So that jogged my memory. So some Twitter account I saw, like, of course, posted about all the live guys getting riders into the DP World Tour and being released to play. So we're going to see a lot more of them in this off season. It lends to, I mean, we talked about this about a month ago, and not much has happened. Some kind of deal coming to fruition with Live
Yeah.
and PGA Tour. I hadn't seen much else from it. Again, I mentioned it last week. No new articles, but the signs are there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the patterns are being broken. I think something's going to happen. I will reiterate that Live does not have a TV deal for next year. That I mean, where are they going to broadcast if they're going to continue to be a reputable league? So, just more on that. So, let's go ahead and transition over and. Appreciate your comments here, Rob. We'll pull this one up because it's kind of what we just talked about. Ben On's parents were both Olympic ping pong players. Dad from Korea, mom from China. Great point. I didn't even know that. But again, high level athletics
Yeah. I
and also
mean,
kind of a paddle sport as well. Interesting.
traveling schedules, all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Again, another prodigy. We've known about Ben On for a long time.
A long
And
time.
we talked about him a couple weeks ago on a show where he was, I think you'll know, not a couple weeks ago, around the uh, international competition in Canada,
Yeah.
where he was just saying like he's like he just was kind of talking about it in a kind of a dickish way, but that he's just naturally talented. He doesn't
Yeah.
practice a lot. He just goes out there and plays the game, and you can kind of see that. I mean, he's got one of the smoothest swings in the game as well. Hasn't always performed at the highest level. Lost his card, had to work his way back up to the PGA Tour, but yeah, very interesting from a, again, knowing how to get ready to play. Parents probably helped him out a ton on that. So transitioning over to our LPGA side, so they finished
Yeah.
up their season. Gino Thitticool took the Took it all. Had a hot finish. Went eagle birdie to top Angel Yin and take the CME Globe. So
Hmm.
Rob says Gino making 4 mil off one tournament, making her highest paid girl this year with over 6 mil. And she also won the Aeon. What was the official total? It's like the Aeon. Let me write it. I wrote it down. Risk reward challenge. So she pocketed another $1 million from that as well. So
Yeah.
she ended up winning 5 mil this week. Um, Topping Nell with her 7 wins. Thoughts kind of reminds me of Victor Hovland winning the FedEx that other year. So that's a good point. Um, I still think there's some huge flaws in end of year competition for both competitions, 100%. And even with the increased purses on the LPGA side, um, I think Nelly gets punished by not winning. So, did she win a major earlier in the year? She won the
She won
Chevron,
two
right?
majors.
Okay. See, that absolutely is kind of trash, right? To win two majors and the
Yeah.
purse is still not being big enough to like Gino had a good season and she won twice.
Maybe it was one major. I'm pretty sure it was two majors, but it might have just been one.
Let's see. Go ahead. What are your thoughts on that part though, from Rob's point and her being the season long money winner despite this is not her this was her third win. She had the team championship, won overseas here recently, and then um be this win.
Um, he brings up a valid point. Again, it's just she won. It was the Chevron. She only won one.
Okay.
Um, Dang, that sucks, man. Gene, I didn't feel like
She
I
didn't
didn't
have a
feel like
great season.
she didn't. I felt like but she played every week though. I mean, pretty much. Her and
Yeah.
Ronnie Yen, they pretty much played the whole year. I just feel like a couple of times where Nelly had to pull out because of injury or whatever circumstance, kind of ended up hurting her as far as her lead went. As far as that goes, she definitely could have had a bigger lead, but yeah. Ronnie definitely had a better year. But doesn't show. Rob, hey, Rob dropping some bars right now in the
I know,
comments.
right? Straight up.
Um, yeah, it's tough. I know, but I know Nelly not mad. She still got Rolex Player of the Year, and she still
Right.
won. She still pocketed plenty of bread. I mean, she's doing her thing, and I think honestly, if she's a real competitor, which I think she is, it's just gonna do what it would do for pretty much anybody else that's competing. It's gonna make her hungrier. It's gonna make her want to
Yeah.
get in a few more events or be a little bit more healthy to make the Asian swing or not pull out of like stateside events and stuff like that. Um, I mean, remember she had that random dog incident or whatever. Just being friendly, got nipped. That was 2 weeks off. Her in
Yeah.
Portland, and then the next week or whatever that they did
Well,
in Canada or
we
whatever.
talked about it last week. It was only her sixth start since her last win, so it had been a
Right.
light second half of her year.
Yeah,
And I was
7 weeks
mistaken.
in between
Gino,
on both, I'm pretty
Gino,
sure.
Gino only won twice. I forget she got nipped by Ronnie overseas, so she ended up not getting that one when they were playing on the Asian swing last month. So I don't know. I go back to the original point is that both the LPGA and PGA Tour need to figure out a better way to reward kind of end of full year performance
To
and
highlight full year winners.
right. And so I don't know, maybe that's balancing out the money and saying, okay, there's a regular season champion and then end of the year. I don't know. Where like let's say you cut that 4 mil in half and give that other to Nelly. I don't know if there's I don't know what the better system is, but what we currently have seems to disproportionately reward a hot set of weeks and just getting good at the end of the year. Kind of
Yeah.
hanging around, so you can kind of have a chance at the playoffs and then turn it on. So
Oh,
hopefully they
remember
do.
the the newest event that they had this year, it was out in Cali, where they said this was the highest purse that they had had on the tour, just like on the tour, not the championship. Nelly
Yep.
missed that event too. So again, she's missing some big money stuff. Remember, so one of her wins was the maiden year for the event in Arizona, at the
Yeah.
Phoenix Country Club. That purse wasn't big. I mean, yeah, she won, but
Yeah.
she won when it was like 200K
These
purse. But
kind of the older levels
yeah,
of purchases. Yeah.
do you think so? Are you saying that they need to make a playoff system for them too, or do you think that they need to have that big money event at the end set up to where the end of the year tour winner for the whole season wins 1 million, and then whoever won the event gets still 2.5 or 3
Right.
or whatever, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yes. So
Which
very.
one would you
I'm not gonna.
prefer?
I would like it to be split. I still think the end of the year should still seat that Gino is in right now still receive a sizable
Hefty
purse,
amount. Yeah.
but yeah, but give that to the person who had the best regular season. Give the rest of that to the person who had the best regular season. So I think
Yeah.
they do a similar thing with the race to Dubai, right? So there's sometimes, like this year. Well, it's not really the same. Scratch that. I was about to say they have a couple of years ago, John Rahm and both Rory McIlroy were on the 18th green posing with their different trophies, but one's
Right.
for the tournament and one's for the full race to Dubai. So it's not the same, but we need something that's able to reward a full year of good play. Because these ladies play a ton of golf. I
Yeah.
mean, I think they should be rewarded. And having a 7 season win, cool. She got Player of the Year. Um, Rob also mentioned, you know, freaking Lydia Ko, and she had an amazing season. Right,
Right.
got into the Hall of Fame, was inducted this past week, crying her eyes
Major
out.
and Olympic gold.
Hell of a season, right? But I get it.
Yeah.
The Olympic gold is slightly, it's not necessarily directly connected to the LPGA, but still a hell of a year, right? And hell of a
Yeah.
career, with a couple more years to play in her on her end. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think to me overall, just as a whole, I think women's golf, as we've talked about fully this year, is in a really good spot from a talent perspective. The fact that we can even have these arguments about the high level of play and the fact that Gino is an incredible player. Didn't have her best season, but we're seeing Ronnie Yens, we're seeing Angel Yin, kind of step into her, footing.
Yeah.
Gals that, made the Solheim Cup and are really good players in their own didn't have great years, like a Allison Corpus, right? Regular season, trash, but
Yeah.
still a really good player. So like she's gonna eventually kind of come out of whatever, her hangover that she had from last year. There's a really a glutton of talent in the ladies game. So I think it's in a really good spot. And some of these people are freeing up spots for even younger ladies to come in and play well. We're seeing the retirements of Marina Alex, which was a surprise. I know the article I read said it wasn't a surprise to anyone in her circle, but she's
Hmm.
played a crap ton of golf this year.
Yeah.
And she's stepping away at the age of 34. Um, Lexi Thompson stepping away at least from full time golf. I still get mixed signals from the way she talks, but at least she's stepping away from full time golf at the beginning of rolling into next year and starting to explore other avenues of her life, which is good for her. But again, these are spots that are going to be given to up and comers, and we're going to see new names fill in. We didn't see the best season from our girl Patty T. Like
Very
she's a
true.
bomber, So
Yeah.
I think we're going to continue to see the LPGA continue to elevate their game, especially as they do things that are successful from the PGA Tour and kind of implement their own little kind of twist and flavor into it. We've seen them get really busy on the social media, and do their thing there, which is also good for fan engagement
Yeah.
and the in person experience. As our member Crystal Cochran has said, those ladies are really engaging in person, as she got to attend quite a few tournaments in person. And yeah, it's they have all the good things going for them.
Yeah.
Rob says it. Women's game is definitely exciting right now. I just want to see the Korean resurgence and dominance once again. So
I don't
yeah,
blame you. It's a tie world
yeah.
right now.
I mean, 34. Let's just talk about the Marina Alex thing real quick. She's retiring at 34. Not incredibly. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's got plans to start a family, what her personal life looks like. Who knows what that looks like for her. But surprising just because we didn't know, and I know she didn't want a bunch of fanfare. I've just become really aware of her in the last handful of years. She's played decently. She's had a down season last year. Said she'd even thought about retiring. What do you think about her stepping away?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, bro. Women are on a totally different timetable than dudes are. Dudes are like, I mean, besides what LeBron just said about him not trying to play till the wheels fall off, they gonna get every physical ability out of themselves before they retire. They gonna get every bit of money that they can from their bodies if they're a physical athlete, a professional athlete that they can. Women aren't built like that. Women have
Well,
different.
yeah, biologically, the clock starts ticking if they want to have families. That sucks, for them professionally as an athlete.
Yeah,
We saw that
no,
with
truly.
We saw that with Annika. We saw that with Lorena Ochoa.
Yep.
That they just have had to make different decisions.
Lydia
Um,
Cole doing the same thing pretty much. She talking about what else do I have to prove? She already in the LPGA. Started when she was
right,
15.
right. Is she 29 right now? About to be 30?
That's Lexi. I think Lydia Co's still like 27, 27, 28.
No, because I was doing the math and it felt like she had like 3 more years left when she said she was going to play until she's 32.
She's
So she's born
27.
in
She was born in
1997.
97. Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Told
that's
you.
nuts to me.
27, bro.
That's that's like nuts to me. And again, she said she's going to play until she's 32. That's a hell of a career. I mean,
That's a hell of a
legit.
career.
So, yeah. I don't
Nelly
know. I
Corda,
think
she 26, 20, 25, 26.
I don't know. I can see Nelly playing till I don't know. I don't know what Nelly's like the Taylor Swift of golf, late golfers to me. I don't think she'll ever settle down. I think she'll date quite a bit as we've seen this year, but
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a baller. She's so dedicated to the game, um,
Yeah,
that I don't know. We'll see.
you see that.
But I see more athletes on the ladies' side just figuring out like, okay, what else? What's the next thing for me? And not
Yeah,
necessarily loving the pressure of playing professional golf, even though these ladies are getting paid a decent amount as you compare it to like just general North American salaries. They're doing quite well, right? A lot of them are going
right.
to make well over $200,000, and yeah, with the travel and all the having a team, yeah, it cuts into to the earnings, but they're still making above average wages. But I think it's a grind. They do travel quite a bit. Um, I don't I don't pretend to say that the LPGA scheduling always makes sense. We've seen them go from coast to coast. We've seen them do the Asian swing where they're having to travel to a different country in Asia every single week for five
Yeah,
weeks. That can be tough on an individual, right? And you're playing close to 38 weeks of the year, something like that, something crazy. They
yeah.
play about as frequently as the DP World Tour, which they just rolled over their season. So event in Australia was the first of 38 events on their schedule for this year for the DP World Tour, and the LPGA plays about just as much as they do. So
I will say
um,
that they do kind of get lucky because A lot of times their boyfriend or significant other can hop on the bag and that saves them money and stuff like that. And I think they still get sponsors exemptions as far as, flight points and stuff like that goes. I will say it is super trippy though, because them folks is not on net jets like the PGA
No,
is.
they're on
They are flying commercial.
commercial.
Oh,
Yeah.
Charlie Holden posted in the story and posted what airport she flying out of, and it's just a regular ass airport. It's like, oh, okay, all right, nice.
Um, let's get into this media stuff. Or no, do you want to talk? You want to drag Matt Kuchar or wait till the end to drag Matt Kuchar?
Um, let's do that now, and we can
All
get in the
right,
mood.
all right. I'm just gonna call him Matt Kuchar's son. It's in the story linked in the description if you want to check out his actual name. But son, playing in a state championship. He's 3A in Florida. The A designation is different for every state. So kind of we'd be middle of the road for like Texas in terms of size of school. But playing in the 3A Florida State Championship, his coach withdrew him and another player for violation of the state honor code for off-season stuff. So it wasn't any cheating. We've drugged Matt Kuchar for being scum of the earth and just making decisions that we would not make, or the majority of the public would not make, just because they're
Yeah,
disrespectful to others. So the two ones that that most of us know is him underpaying a caddy that was on his bag for a week in, was it Hawaii?
Mexico.
A couple of years. Mexico, that's right. In Mexico, that was 3 4 years ago. Avoided paying the usual percentage, which somewhere usually ranges between 5 and 10%. Just really stiffed him, and then when people found out about it, he finally paid the dude. This year, at the Wyndham Championship, Matt Kuchar, instead of finishing in the dark like everybody else did, he
Marked his
holds
ball.
himself, marked his ball in the fairway on 18, instead of hitting his approach like his other two playing companions did that day, having the tournament staff and all the things that they could have wrapped up that evening for the PGA Tour and proceeded to the playoffs. He decides he wants to finish out the next morning and change nothing in his finishing position. Um, Pretty much stayed the status quo where he was the night before. So Matt Kuchar continues to be a bad person and apparently is raising kids that make questionable decisions. And while they don't get into any specifics, again, he's a minor. The fact that I'm surprised that the media actually printed an article or did an article about Matt Kuchar. We've been fed the bull crap about him being a good guy, and despite these other stories,
Hmm.
it looks like the tide has finally turned on Matt Kuchar.
First and last name, they put my man's in there, bruh.
I know.
First of all, it's Florida 3A, bro. Like, what is Charlie on 5A? I mean, what I think 5A is the highest they go in Florida as it is. But yeah, man, your coach is emotional because y'all had a chance to win and you over here screwing the pooch. Whatever you did, it was stupid, clearly, and it was egregious enough for you to get withdrawn from a state championship tournament. Because we all know how it goes when people want to win and pedigree means something and it means something for your resume. They gonna look the other way for a lot of stuff. So whatever you did, even though they didn't mention it, it was egregious enough for you to get withdrawn from the tournament, and y'all had to finish with three. Y'all didn't have enough players to have a qualifying score, so you lost that way. Mm, that's
Yeah,
that's an
it
embarrassing mark
must
right
have been
there,
bad,
bro.
like you said. Matt Kuchar's a man with a lot of money because he's keeps it from other people,
Hmm.
but not even enough to sway the coach to just say to over, like you said, turn the other eye and say we'll make a pass this time. We'll discipline you some other way. Um, so yeah, pretty bad. But are we surprised coming out of the Kuchar household? No.
No,
So
Yeah.
Kudos.
Also, that
Go
that
ahead.
high school was mentioned. You used to never do that stuff.
No, I mean they're naming all the names. This is
Yeah.
information we typically don't get. Which I like messy. So shout out to this is the one compliment to the media. So this article I think was posted by Golf Digest,
Hmm.
um, for putting it all out there. So kudos to them. And that kind of just leads into what we're gonna need going forward. Whether it's politics, whether it's entertainment, golf, I think the media has done a really poor job on whatever side of the thing you stand on in terms of covering things that people actually care about, which has driven a lot of people to independent media or getting their news elsewhere. A lot of people just do not rely on these traditional sources.
Yeah.
So, also in the description of this video, there's an article about two anonymous PGA stars that are quote unquote begging the bosses at Live to join the league. And in my mind, I call BS because if Live is still trying to be a viable entity, why would they not be, ready to accept anybody of note to come play in their league? If people are begging, sign
You
them
gotta
up for a
change the
contract,
rules.
right?
Yeah, you gotta change the rules for them.
Right. You got money to throw around. Come on.
And
If they think that
yeah,
it's going to be worth their while, why wouldn't they sign up? Unless, of course, as we mentioned before, there's a deal impending. But again, why are we still doing the propaganda stuff if that is the case? Why not just hush? But doing these kind of nameless articles with no sources mentioned and no idea who the players are is kind of lame to me and irresponsible that
yeah.
this was printed. So, what are your thoughts on poor media behavior?
Uh, I mean, there's enough going on in this world to where we shouldn't have to still be dealing with clickbait, but that is still the game that is being played, and it is a nasty game to play. I typically try not to even click on first type stories like that. Now if it's posted multiple times and it's kind of feels like it's vetted, then I might go in and look around at it or catch a video or something like that off of the TikTok. But you know how that goes. So it's tough, and it's tough to navigate because you want to believe that these people are telling the truth and that they're kind of giving you the stuff on the forefront. But I mean, clearly, once again, we're
Yeah.
getting ran around, and they are just stringing us along. So yeah. Oh,
And we've
also,
seen, well, let me quick point real quick, but we've seen the live golf side continue to do stuff like this since their inception. Blind articles or blind items, I
right.
should say, with no sources, sensational items. Tried. I mean, they've and actually pulled off some of this stuff. I mean, we talked about how they thought the Anthony Kim thing would keep us locked in and loaded, and it gets about 3 weeks of attention, and then it was over. So
Yeah.
yeah. But what were you saying?
I was saying also. I mean, in that article, they were saying that one of the execs was saying that his phone has been ringing off the charts. For why would your phone be ringing off the charts for two golfers? Wouldn't it
Right.
ring
Right.
twice?
You're talking to the agents. They're not gonna be calling y'all. Come on, it's just so lame, bro. It's so lame.
The
I
agents
can't.
might call you twice themselves, be like, "Hey, look, uh, you got anything going on over there? Any way you could probably just buy us out of our PGA? I know y'all got it. Hang up. Okay, hey,
Yeah.
look, I'm just reaching back out. Y'all ain't got nothing for us. Okay, bet that's fine. It's cool. All right.
Right.
That's about the two calls that they got, bro. I can't stand this shit, bro.
I
Ain't no
know.
way
I know.
you saying your phone ringing off the charts for a 50-man tour. Going on, man. You
It's
know what
just
though, Rod?
it's saying
Let me
I'm important.
let me say this. Well, besides Greg Norman capping, half of his story. He's just a walking
Always. We
cap.
can't believe
Just
anything. Yeah.
period. You know what? If these tour execs for Live were getting no calls and then getting 3 calls, you know what? That might feel like the phone was ringing off the charts. That's the
Right.
only thing I got. That's the only thing I got.
They've had no signings since Terrell Hatton, and that was in the early first quarter of last year, right before the week before the league started, right? So Terrell Hatton got some run in on the wraparound part of the season on the PGA
Right.
Tour, and then left for Live. That was their
Yeah.
last signing, and they've
And it
since
didn't even make a
lost.
splash.
No, well, hell, John
Ah,
Rahm
oh,
didn't.
no, my fault,
John
my
Rahm
fault, my
made
fault.
what's that?
My fault, my fault. It did because it was kind of like confusing why Turo didn't say not one word. He just left with John Rahm to create
Yeah.
Legion 13. It was a little bit random. Also, Lucas Herbert literally didn't say a word, just dipped.
Well, because we
Yeah,
don't care about Lucas Herbert, right? I
right,
mean, we just don't literally don't care.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
but they have like 5 players that they need to replace. They lost Bubba Watson. I read something about him having to put together a business proposal or some weird shit about saving his spot. I'm like, bro, this is the most bizarre sports league that no
He's
one
clearly
cares
not
about.
important over there, brother. He's not important
No, as a
because
captain, they stopped protecting captains. So
they made them rules for Phil and Poulter and Westwood so that they can, retain their spots and stuff like that. Not for my man's. Not
no,
for my
but
man. Two-time
that rule
Masters
went
winning.
away. That
Yeah.
rule went away, and they're literally changed rules on the fly. They
So
don't
change
have
rules on the
any.
fly for these two begging PGA pros.
Right,
All right, man.
right.
All right, man.
Let's also this. So continuing on the media thing, I'm a little concerned about um Comcast, which is the parent company of like MSNBC, CNBC, NBC, all that jazz, and a handful of other channels, which includes Golf Channel.
You know.
So they have been repackaged into a new entity, with a couple of other news, entities that Comcast owns, and there's still some speculation on what that means, what they're going to do with the channel. We saw a couple of years ago with Golf Channel relocating from Florida up to Connecticut, which probably changed the DNA. While we don't see a lot of the outdoor instruction, and they're still playing like Martin Hall stuff from years ago on replay
Yeah,
on Mondays.
there's no more
Like,
school of.
no,
There's
and not
barely that
nothing.
break-in. There's barely that break-in series with Natalie Shaheen. She's got a good deal going with that. But yeah, I mean, the Golf Pass
Yeah,
thing is a separate entity now. It's a pay for play. There's no more Golf Academy. I mean, that thing was great. Remember that app? They had a whole app for the
and
free
they got
stuff.
rid of the Golf Channel app was really
Yeah,
good, and they got
yeah.
rid of that, and then tried
Completely
to
closed.
shovel us
Completely
over.
closed it.
They tried to shuttle us over to that alternative, and that was
Garbage.
garbage. I tried that for all of, you know, maybe a
NBC
month.
versus Sports or something like that, right?
Correct.
No.
So getting golf scores was difficult. Like, it just was impossible, honestly. So I'm glad that the PGA Tour has kind of stepped their game up and been a good
Yeah.
replacement. And while they don't have a one for one, they do have all the leagues linked on the left hand side, so you can get your DP World Tour and go to
Yeah.
their website directly and LPGA. So yeah, I mean, it's been decent, but yeah, Golf Channel app was goaded, and then they just killed that thing and stopped supporting it.
Yeah.
Last year, I think it was earlier this year, I finally gave it up and deleted it out of my phone. I thought maybe I was holding out hope that it would have a resurgence, but yeah, I'm
No.
concerned about, we know independent media, when you look at the, Twitter verse of quote unquote golf journalist is kind of garbage. You get a lot of sensationalism. The news is becoming super unreliable for those of us that love golf. And if Golf Channel takes an even smaller footprint going forward, because I mean, we watch it, we love it, and we're into it. But I do think that we're in the minority of, when think about how much money sports bring in, golf is at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
We know NFL is king, basketball right behind that, baseball, hockey. Um, then we're talking golf, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. After that, it's really, golf, tennis, kind of all on the even playing field at the bottom of the leagues and just its attention. And this feels again like
Honestly,
another. Go ahead,
honestly, shit, soccer and tennis probably still above golf because of
bro.
accessibility.
I'm not even again, that forgive my US bias. I'm not even thinking about soccer like that. I know worldwide soccer is killer. I forget we don't really care about it a lot here.
Mm,
But yeah, you're right. So globally soccer is a huge money maker and attention getter.
yeah. Hmm.
So golf is way down, and this feels like again another step of deprioritization of golf media, and that we're probably going to get less and less, especially quality content out of the Golf Channel. Other than live tournaments, I don't watch a lot of Golf Channel anymore. It's just not that good.
Yeah. No, I mean, golf today is trash. I don't like that negative European guy. I can only stand Damon Hack for so long. And then there's that guy that has the fairways show in the morning. I mean, I'm done with it. I'd much rather them do the replay stuff. So after this Australian event goes or whatever, I'm begging and pleading for them to do some LPGA replays before they go into their
Right.
PGA. You know what I'm saying? Their PGA final round playoff play down before they go to the new year or whatever. And then we got a week
Right.
of golf today again with no coverage. And then finally we get the Century Tournament of Champions. But who knows? That might be 2 weeks in now. And then they go to the Sunday before we get live golf again. But I think it I think it just opens the door as I was sending you that stuff as well. Let the record show, chat, that I actually sent Rod an article or video, and he didn't send me something, and it had to do with this whole buyout and the fact that the PGA Tour might be one of those companies looking to buy it out and make it the PGA Tour channel, and hopefully they do the subsidiaries and stuff like that and get us some more coverage and get us even, you know what I'm saying, not just the college golf amateur tournaments. Give us some coverage on these Pacific. I don't care. Give me the Pacific amateur final
The Asian
round or
amateur.
final two round. Yeah, give me all that. The match play, the USGA all that stuff. Give me that. Give me that. I want to see golf. I want to see live golf. I want to see replays of golf. We can get to the talk show stuff, but limit that because I feel like they're revamping it and doing 2 hour blocks as if this is first take. And then they replay first take right after it. And that's 4 hours of yapping. I
Yeah.
don't want that.
And it's
Give
and it's just not good. They've cut
It's
down on the
not
staff.
good.
We're hearing the same voices over and over again saying,
Oh,
people hate Brandel Chambly. I think the guy you're referring, I can't remember his name. It's slipping my brain, but him
not
and
important.
him and Brandel go back and forth all the time on X. But um, yeah,
Give
it's
me
it's
Trip Coulter or whoever.
who?
Give me Trip. Give me Trip.
Okay. I don't even know who that is. But I've been saying for a long time the we're not getting it right now, but the ESPN Plus coverage guys, if they could somehow work a deal where they kind of have a dual relationship, those guys and gals that work on the ESPN side of golf, usually they do the regular season kind of Thursday, Friday, early Saturday morning coverage on ESPN
Yeah.
Plus. A1. If they could steal some of those guys and gals, because Christina Kim, who's on the LPGA,
Yeah.
starting to wind down her LPGA career, amazing.
I don't.
Behind the mic, she's amazing.
I don't think they have to steal them because remember they already have a deal with ESPN. PGA does PGA Tour. So PGA Tour buys Golf Channel all right. They could just swap them on over or give them
Yeah,
expanded roles to do coverage for them now and give them their
yeah.
studios and stuff like that. Because PGA, where is the PGA out of? Is it? It's not
Out of
Frisco.
Florida. Are you talking? Oh, well, no,
Exactly.
no. Well, they've moved. I think that officially they are now. Are you talking about the PGA Tour or?
The tour. They're still in Florida.
Um,
Yeah, they're still in. No,
yeah,
no, no. You're right. They're still over there by TPC Sawgrass. Over there,
Ponte.
yeah, midway up Florida. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. All right, all right. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Get Martin Hall back in there with Paige. Get them back on there
or
immediately.
Blair O'Neill, all them. Just
Or
get
some
some new stuff out.
Michael Breed, bring him back. He had him a
I
little run too.
I love Michael Breed. I actually he grew on me over time. So
Yeah,
yeah, golf media is in a real precarious place. But I think as the new year rolls around, we're going to start getting some clarity on what's going to happen with the merger, if that actually is going to go through. Again, there's signs there that something may be happening, but we don't know
yeah.
what the terms of that deal will look. Will it be a straight merge? Will it be them still operating separately? Will that deal with the TV thing allow Live to have a broadcast partner? We'll see. Um, so yeah, and TGL, just as an update for anybody who's not aware, TGL is still a go. It's going to happen January 7th through March 25th. So we'll see more from that. I just want to see what it looks like. I'm not probably not going to tune in beyond the first week or two, but I just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Um, that's it for the golf stuff. I do have some other alternative topics to jump into before we hop off. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Random hot off the press story before we hopped on today in culture. Drake sues Universal Music Group, UMG, who he has a $400 million contract with over the Not Like Us. So it's interesting that Universal Music Group also has a deal with Kendrick Lamar. So in their battle, Drake accuses Universal Music Group of payola, which is paying stations to pay to play the music, bots to promote it and get engagement, as well as some other underhanded tactics to push Not Like Us. What do you think about that, man? That's crazy. Eamon Lynch.
And Trip Eisenhower, my
Like,
fault. You know me. Rod will tell you, me and last names are
worst with
bad.
the worst, bro.
Or you know
Eamon
what? It's
Lynch.
it's vice versa because sometimes I'll have the first name butchered and get the last name, and then I'll be like, you know what I mean? Come on now, you get what I'm saying. But as it pertains to the Drake situation, it's actually comical to me because that's some stuff that I would definitely predicate his side to do, especially for like tracks like the one where he had the van on the tow truck, that
Oh
music
yeah,
video, and then the Heart Part Six
the
was
Family Matters.
yeah, all of that stuff. I felt like he was because it's some. I'm gonna just go ahead and apologize now. Excuse my French. It is some dick eaters that just will literally gas anything Drake says. So I'm a Drake. I'm a
I don't know
Drake
if he's
music
still
fan.
on.
I'm not a
If I
Drake. Go ahead.
hold on real quick, let me jump in real quick just before you say that. Before hold that thought, Rob. If you're still on, I know you're from Canada. Are you a Drake fan? And were you a Drake fan before the beef? And do you remain a Drake fan? But go ahead.
Um, I am a Drake music fan. I still think he makes good music, and but Drake the person is a complete lame. So when people say that Drake is still acting as a rapper, I get it. Like I understand what you mean. Like it makes sense now. So yeah, Drake still makes presentable music to me. So I still think, but Kendrick's definitely higher up on my priority list of rappers and hip hop enthusiasts. So I definitely love that Kendrick won the beef, and I definitely think he definitely
Yeah.
is doing this thing in this latest album as well. GNX.
I
I
was I was
mean,
gonna ask you your opinion on GNX. Okay, so let me throw my thought out there about GNX, and then I'll let you jump back into it. I
go
don't
ahead.
think GNX is not the newest album. I think it's like an EP, mixtape combo. Like it's not. I don't think it's his next full length album. If you've been a Kendrick fan, you know his albums are events and they hold a theme throughout, and there's kind of it's a storytelling element that goes, it's literally like poetry, right? If you think
Yeah,
about To Pimp a Butterfly, um, the latest one, uh, the Big Steppers, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. You go all the way back to Section 80. All of his albums have been kind of storytelling. GNX is very much just like hitting topical stuff, like hot pop culture, still addressing some things like comments that were made around the beef.
yeah.
The first track, the Whacked Out Murals, is talking about yesterday. This is not your usual Kendrick type of material for
It
a full
usually
length
takes
album.
agreed. It usually takes a little bit to get into a whacked out murals. Now, don't get me wrong, he's got that in the bag, but he's not popping out with that as the intro. So I definitely get what you're saying. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I still think GNX is still pretty solid. I mean, I think this is definitely like a shout out to his West Coast culture. Like there is so much like hyphy style beats on there. And then of
yeah,
course with the Barra with the mariachi singer. I'm not gonna Miss Barrera. I'm not gonna butcher her
yeah.
name.
Don't butcher the name. Yeah,
Shout out to her though, because her input into Whacked Out Murals and then the other two songs that she's included in, it really shows what's going on out west. Because ain't nobody from Dallas or Texas or the South throwing in a mariachi band, and we are fully immersed in the Mexican culture out here. I mean, just think
right.
about Mexican OT and stuff like that. Like he's one of them guys out here in Texas now. So it just shows how important like the mariachi bands are to the West and what he thinks of it. I think it's a really
Well,
good
yeah,
way to include his culture out there.
yeah. LA is one of my favorite cities to visit. I love LA. I love the vibe. It's definitely an entanglement, and you get both um, cultures mixed in there, right? I think it's very unique in the U.S. where you see all these, you see the posh side of L.A., you see your Comptons, you see other areas of, I don't know, like it's hard to explain it, but it's all kind of works together. Like it's like a
Yeah,
gumbo. That whatever the area where Dodger Stadium is, like I loved when we were down there, we went to watch a Dodgers game. It's just a crazy feel. So I get it. Like from a music standpoint, I'm not the biggest fan. Like there's been people that have popped from the West Coast, and I've always been a kind of a Kendrick fan, but his music hasn't always been like that really distinctive California sound. He's
agreed.
been embracing that lately to like the nth degree, right? So even
Not
the
like us.
TV,
Not like
yeah,
us is
not like
hella
us.
West Coast.
The TV off has that same West Coast bouncy vibe from Mustard,
Hmm.
right? So it's got that sound. It's unique. You're not going to hear that anywhere else. But I like it, right? Because it's him doing. It's like when anytime I think I saw this analysis on TikTok. Anytime an artist embraces their sound and culture, it's the best version of hip hop, whatever that may be, right? So when you
Yeah.
hear a bounce type music from New Orleans, you hear trap music from Atlanta, you hear dark and gritty beats from New York, with that type of, the raps that go with that.
Yeah.
that sounds the best when a region embraces the sound that belongs to it, right? We hear kind of a down south, but kind of, when you're in like St. Louis, right? Their music has a certain feel. Same thing for the West Coast, right? There's a certain sound that, when embraced fully, everybody can get down with it, whether you like that sound typically or not, right?
Yeah.
So you seeing people really pulling out like artists out of Keek the Sneak, right? So Super Hyphy is one of my songs that I've loved for a long time, right? I wouldn't go listen to that kind of music day in, day out. But if Kendrick's like, I'm dedicating myself to this, I'm showing homage to my roots, I'm all for it, right? Even
Yeah.
though kind of hyphy is more Bay Area than LA, it's still that California, vibe. So I love what Kendrick's doing right now. It's kind of resetting the deck for hip hop. Everybody's not gonna fuck with it. That's just the truth, right? It's not
Yeah.
for
True.
everybody. But I like it. I like what he's doing. I'm interested to still see that full album though. I want to hear what he's been thinking about over the last 3 to 4 years since Mr. Morale came out. What's he thinking about, right? Because it feels like he's
Absolutely.
always ahead of the curve, right? So when Mr. Morale came out, it reminds me, as a comparison from my days, of like Outkast and Stank on You. When
Yeah.
Stank on You came out, it was damn near unlistenable. Yeah, there were hits on that album, but the subject matter and the beats were so different from what was happening at the time. Same thing when it comes to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Just talking about, as a man, as a black man, being in touch with your demons and fixing things that are going on in your life. That
Yeah.
wasn't the vibe when that album came out, right? This whole embrace of go get therapy, go work through your issues, don't continue to be this scourge on your family tree. Go fix
Yeah.
that shit. That wasn't
Yeah.
the vibe. Ahead of the curve. So I'm very interested to see what Kendrick has kind of been thinking about and the direction that he believes that culture should go. That's just where
Damn.
I'm at with it.
I mean, just think about Damn. Damn was transcendent too.
Yeah.
Damn was not like anything else. We got a club pop banger with Loyalty, but right before we got Feel, which is really getting to the nitty gritty. Then we got Pride. We got I mean, we got Duckworth to end it. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
beat on Duckworth is just trippy stuff. I mean, he really lays it down. I mean, we're not we're not, you know, hip hop purists and stuff like that. So I don't want y'all to come down our throats and stuff like that. Pause. But
Okay, Marcus. Shut up.
oh
Go,
my god, I am so
go,
sorry,
go,
y'all. I'm so sorry.
go
Anyways,
ahead.
what else we got? No. I'm done. I'm done. I just don't want y'all to feel like, yo, you need to be digging into this artist here and you need to
Oh, I
be
mean,
writing down their poems.
I mean, the truth is, I'm a 40. How old am I now? 42-year-old dude with
And
a
you're
child
42,
and
bro.
a full time job and this hobby that we like doing. I'm sorry, like I can't be the expert in everything that I love. Right?
Right.
I love hip hop when I have time for it, and what's good. And I don't always do mainstream, so yeah. I mean, we're not gonna be like deep in the crates listening to
Right.
underground
Yeah.
LA artists and stuff. So, but yeah, shout out to, again, also the features, right? So we'll see what
West
with some
Coast
of these
features.
artists. Yeah, let's see what happens with some of these artists that got featured on the album. I've seen a couple of TikToks pop up with the young lady that you mentioned, the mariachi singer, that apparently has been grinding at it for decades at
30
this point.
years.
Strong voice. Like her
Oh
voice
yeah.
is fucking nuts. So yeah, shout out to them. I hopefully that they are able to capitalize off this opportunity that's kind of been handed to them, and to able to represent their craft and their city a little bit more. But yeah, that was it on the bonus stuff. I saw the Drake thing pop up right before we hopped on, and I was like, that's an interesting play, bro.
Yeah.
The kind of the friendly fire with the company that has agreed to pay you $400 million, for you to be suing
Them.
essentially your Trek writer. I don't know,
Well,
bro. That's
not
pretty.
necessarily that. You know what? That's a last ditch effort because you really know you caught an L if you trying to if you trying to sue him and get him to take it off the network. mm,
I don't know
That's
if
the
they're trying to. I
supreme
don't know
L.
if he's trying. I mean, that song's gonna live forever. I don't think he's trying to get it removed, but he's just saying that they were promoting it. Clearly, I'm sorry, but I hadn't listened to any of his new stuff because clearly it hadn't been charting very well. Um, come and go off the charts. So, I
Oh,
mean,
Drake. You
I
talking
don't
about
know.
Drake?
I'm talking about Drake. I mean, I feel like his career. When you think about hip hop, it's really about traction and momentum. And do you feel authentic? And right
Yeah.
now, Drake and this little light skin move of suing your boss while still working for your boss, that's real light skin to him, man. And so I don't know if he's gonna. Again, the loss in the battle, the continued kind of sneak dissing that he did, the internet stuff that stopped, that he finally just had to stop because it was lame. And
Yeah.
then now this move, I feel like Drake is cooked, man. I he released a bunch of little eclectic. He tried to go outside of hip hop in these
Yeah.
last few months that didn't work.
The house music album he dropped was trash in 2022. Honestly, never mind. I mean, the thing with Drake is he don't put it together like enough. He hit two, three bangers and then the rest just be filler stuff. Like you can't have that much filler stuff on a 16 track album, bro.
Well,
You
because
got to
he's
give
not
me
dedicated. Because he's just jumping on trends, and you can like, cool. You're right. You started off with he can make music. There's no doubt about his talent.
right.
But when you're jacking something that is not yours, you can only fake that for so many tracks, right? Before it starts, either you're looking for the formula to hit, or you're just doing throwaway tracks.
Yeah, man. I'm like going through the albums and I'm like, like I could go without that. I don't know. Her loss was decent with 21, but 21 was a lot of that. I liked her. I liked For All the Dogs. I don't. Again, I just don't know like where he's going with this type of stuff. But he got first person shooter. He got a beat switch on that. That was fire. He got geography Drake back. So 8 a.m. in Charlotte was good. Stories about my brother Wickman.
But
He got
but
some
now,
tracks.
okay, he's got tracks. But now that he's been called out on adopting cultures and jumping from, he can't go back to Atlanta anymore, right? he can't. He
I mean,
can't.
he's been doing this since like Views, bro. I ain't
I
even worried
know,
about that.
but
He's been switching up.
now that he's been called out on it, he cannot go jack sounds. Um,
I mean,
he
I think
can't go
he's still
jack.
can. It's his cheeks.
Yeah. Hey. It is what it is. there's certain light skinned behavior, DJ. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to come down. I'm sorry I had to come down to that, but we might get DMC for this, so let's not say too much, right?
Anyway, all right, bro. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if Drake over under Drake drops a number one hit before summer of next year. Yay or nay?
He'll drop some. It
Number
will it be
one?
will it be number one? No,
No.
it'll chart.
That he's talked about numbers. He's a numbers guy. He's got to go number one. And you think that's a no?
Yeah, I actually like that bar he was talking about too about his number ones. He's like number ones, like I'm up there with Mike or something like that. I'm like, damn, that nigga,
Oh god.
he's
Are you
spitting
talking
that
about
shit.
from first person? You talking about from first person shooter?
Yeah, probably. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, I think it was. Well, we'll never. Here's my call. I will never see another number one hit from Drake ever again. The boy is done. He will
He's my
chart.
age.
He will chart, but he is done with number ones, particularly in the hip hop genre. Kendrick has solidified the culture. No one's gonna rock with him, and there's not enough Drake diehards. They exist. They exist in high numbers, but not enough to get that man to number one ever again. You needed some people to get in there that weren't necessarily traditional Drake fans, and I think he's lost that crowd.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost half of Canada too. They already on they on K dot side too. Hmm. Well, yeah, he might be right. He might not. Well, he might. Well, by summer 2025, no. But do I think, in the grand scheme of things, will he drop
Nah,
another
like
number one?
you said, dude's fucking like that. No, he's older than you. He's like damn near 40, man.
Is
And
he?
he doesn't have. He's damn near 40. I think he's 38.
Damn, you right. He born
38.
86. Born
He's 38.
86.
Yeah, man.
Still
Anyway,
acting childish, boy. Mm.
all right, bro. Beater
All
Bros
right,
Golf
bro.
Show. All things golf and other random stuff. I'm Rod.
I'm Marcus. Hey, also quick, Cowboys stink. We should have tanked. We should have lost that game. Also, we will have updates from the annual Babel's Thanksgiving match this weekend. We got some things to get settled because Rod has been catching me. He's been catching up. We gotta set some boundaries
Yeah.
here.
We're gonna go at it. Three rounds. I still
We
gotta
got
figure out
three
Saturday.
rounds, brother. We
All
got
right,
three
y'all.
rounds.
We'll catch y'all up next week. Holler.